This day, today, the second day of our induction is all about you. You who have come to this institution, to this college, leaving the comforts of your home, leaving your family behind to become something in life. There are some days in our life which are special, and your first or the first few days in college or a new environment is one of them. When you're getting ready in the morning to come to the college, you must have had a tingling in your stomach. Questions would have come to your mind as to what my professors are going to be like. What is my college going to be like? What are my new friends going to be like? What would be, the environment in the college? So all this excitement which is in you, it's like a spark within you. This is what makes you alive. This is what makes you a little nervous. It also makes you enthusiastic. It also makes you energetic. And this spark of flame which is inside you is one of the most important things which keeps us going. God is kind, and each and every one of us is born with this spark. I can see the spark in most of you, especially those that I met. They had this energy. They were full of energy. So this spark is like a flame. I would equate it to the small flame of a candle. Some others compare it to a spark in a spark plug. What you and I have to do is keep this small flame burning. So we have to nurture this flame. We have to keep it burning throughout our lives. Because if this flame gets extinguished, it is very, very difficult to reignite it. To give you an example, there was this movie in which there was this actress called Kareena Kapoor. She was very bubbly. She was talking all the time, very excited. Her face was glowing. Have you anybody seen this movie?
Yes.
Which one? Jab We Met. Right? So she had the spark, this flame in her stomach, and that's what made her so full of energy. Now, there are some people, maybe people of my age, in whom the spark, for some reason, has gone off. And how do you identify these guys? They are dull. They are dejected. They are aimless, and they are bitter. They are finding faults with everything. And surely none of us wants to end up like that. So therefore, we have to nurture this flame and keep it going throughout our lives. Now, can you think of another movie character who had the spark in him? Anyone else? Brilliant, yeah. Did you show my script to her? Absolutely. Remember, he was also at some stage glowing. He was also energetic. He wanted to do something innovative all the time. Now, can you give me an example, not Akansha because she's seen my script, of a person in a movie whose flame has got extinguished? Anyone? Yeah. Louder, louder. Sher Shah Suri. Which movie? Sher Shah. Okay, that's okay. Anybody else? Any other example? Yeah.
Hello.
Of a girl. Huh. Okay, okay, good. I would give you an example of Kareena Kapoor in the second half of the movie, Jab We Met. Remember? You know, suddenly she's dejected for whatever reason. And she's just doesn't want to live, doesn't want to this thing. And the same person has been a dramatic change. So that's what happens if you don't nurture the flame. So, ladies and gentlemen, my first advice to you this morning or this afternoon is, please keep the spark alive. Keep the flame burning. We'll come to this flame a little later. One of the ways we keep the flame alive is by being positive. I'll come to this be positive also a little later. Now, right at the end, I can see some couple of people dozing off, or are they concentrating, or they are very serious, they are gloomy. So, to take off from the flame, I would say, let us all smile and be happy to show that we are positive. So if we smile more, what will happen? Akansha? Smile like this, ha 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 ha. Come on. No, Professor Jai Singh is not going to get angry. Come on, louder. Okay. So aim is to tell you to be happy and not to be serious. You know, you can be sincere, but you don't have to be serious all the time. Now, for those of us who are still not smiling, there was this Pakistani diplomat, a very smart guy. He and his family get posted to the United Nations in New York City. And as it happens with diplomats, he puts his son, who was very appropriately named as Mohammed, into one of the schools in New York City. So the mother, his wife, takes Mohammed to the school and admits him. So I don't know if, because I have also taken my grandchildren when they were very young to the schools, I used to take them and bring them back. Most of the teachers in those primary classes are women. You know, and they are young, they're women in their 20s. They are very, again, energetic, something like Kareena Kapoor. Kareena Kapoor. Okay. And they are very energetic to teach the children. And this particular teacher, whatever her name was, she asks this boy, what is your name? And this guy says, can you hear me properly? What is your name? And this young kid says, Mohammed. She says, no. From now onwards, your name will be Johnny. So he's very happy. She tells all the other classmates to call him Johnny. Then he asks, from where are you? You know, like my friend there, she said, I'm from Madhya Pradesh. So this kid says, I'm from Pakistan. She says, no, you're from America and you're an American. So this guy is transformed, this 5-year-old boy. He now thinks that his name is Johnny and he's an American. So in the evening, he goes back home and his mother asked him, Mohammed, how was school? And he says, My name is not Mohammed. I am Johnny. So the mother gets angry, gives him a tight slap like a good Indian mother. One tight slap. He says, don't hit me, I'm not Pakistani, I'm American. So she slaps him two more slaps. And she gets very worked up, but this guy won't change. So she says, wait for your dad to come, I'm going to complain against you. So when the dad comes, the mother complains that this guy is saying he's American, something has happened to him. So the dad asks him, he says, I'm Johnny, I'm American. So dad, good chap, he beats him much more. So the next day when this kid goes to school, the teacher asks, Johnny, what happened? Why are you all bruised up? He says, Miss, 5 hours after I became an American, I was assaulted by 2 Pakistanis. Right. So now I hope you're in a better mood to absorb normally, because at 1 o'clock it becomes difficult to understand. So my second advice to you is be cheerful. First, I said keep that spark burning alive all the time. My second advice, be cheerful. Smile. Laugh. Right? And if you're smiling, believe me, your senior bosses will be happier. Because all the older guys, they must have gotten scolding at home and they all must be gloomy. So when they see you smiling, they will also feel happy. And your work environment would be a better place. And we in the Bombay Sappers, Professor Jaisingh will tell you, have another name for that. We call it be positive. Cheerful is one of the important aspects of being positive. More about it a little later. And my wife calls such people who are smiling all the time, she calls them the sunshine kids. Now, I just jotted a few things about what is be positive. We all have blood, right? And you must have learned, I don't know, in biology or somewhere, because when I was teaching my grandson for the exams, so I had to teach him that the blood groups are A, B, and O. Plus, it's got the rhesus factor RH negative and RH positive. So there's a combination of all these 7 things, permutation. So there are many different types of blood groups that human beings have. But there is one unique combination, which is B and positive from this side. B positive, right? Which is possibly, if you speak it in English, it has a very good connotation. They're advising you, like, when you ask your parents for blessing, they'll say, be happy. So maybe my blessing to you would be positive. So blood group. So in Bombay Sappers, in the soldiers, if you ask anyone, what is your blood group? They'll say B positive. So if my blood is B positive, right? Then, I've got doctor's permission to be happy. My blood is positive. Now, in the army, I'm just straying a little bit. During war, the girls have these chains around their neck. We wear, a thread with 2 aluminium foils suspended from it. One is oval and one is round. And what is written there is, in my case, only my first name, so Noble. Right? Then the second thing would be, what is my religion? So it will say CH, short form for Christian. Right? So if a guy is Hindu, it will say H. And if a guy is Muslim, it will say HM, Hindustani Muslim. Right? So Hindustani comes first. You see the thing? These were thought 100 years back by the Indian Army. HM. Then the next thing it will say is, what is my blood group? You know, somebody O positive, somebody A negative, and B positive. And the fourth thing it will give you is my number. Every soldier has a unique number. You know, you may not remember what is on your Aadhaar card, but when we become officers or somebody becomes a soldier, he gets a number. So my number is IC. IC stands for Indian Commission 23276. HH stands for hotel, right? So by that number, anybody can locate me. Now, why? So if I'm injured, my colleagues, if they can't pick me up, they'll put the oval disc into my mouth, in the teeth, because even when you see there's a body becomes a skeleton, the teeth will still be intact and that oval thing will still be. So after 20 years, 30 years, if your body has been recovered on a glacier, they can find out whose body it is. Religion, why? Because if I'm a Christian, my body needs to be buried. If I'm a Hindu, my body needs to be cremated. So the army attaches a lot of importance to the last rites. Even if you find the body of an enemy soldier, you're supposed to give him a decent burial or this thing, and then that oval disc is returned. Now the round disc is taken away by your colleagues so that people will know, okay, this guy in this battle, so-and-so is missing, believed killed, right? So the blood group is very, very important. Now in the Bombay Sappers, what we do is, and in peacetime, when you're serving in peacetime, you don't wear those things. So on the right, you have a nameplate. And in the nameplate, so my nameplate will say N THAMBHURAJ, B positive. It won't say full positive. It will say like maths may plus VE. So if I get injured on the football field or any kind of a thing, if blood needs to be given, the doctors can straight away give you blood. So we felt that even if I have to die, I should rather die getting B positive blood than any other blood. So that is the importance of B positive. So how can you be B positive? You must smile more. Not very difficult. Ladies? Akansha? Okay. Second is you should be enthusiastic. You know, you should be interested in what is going on. You should not be sitting bored. Third is speak kindly. There's no need to scold people again and again. Fourth, I think before coming, I learned from some of your professors that you're the greatest. What generation? Gen Z. So I was warned, be very careful, they are Gen Z people. So I said, and they ask very difficult questions. So I passed a message saying that today request them not to ask me any questions because I won't be able to answer them. Right? So you're Gen Z guys, so you got to be cool. People who are positive will always help others. Somebody said Rancho. Do you think Rancho's blood was B positive? Right? He kept saying all is well. Even if there's a problem, he said all is well. Right? And the B positive also means you should be hopeful. When you get up in the morning and come, you should be hopeful that ma'am is going to set an easy question paper and you'll get good marks. Correct? That is being hopefully positive, which is known as being optimist. And be positive guys will look at solutions and not at problems. So if a person is positive, it will help you move forward instead of giving up. So I say keep calm and be positive. And if I ask anyone one question, yeah, that lady there, just the most good-looking girl, please get up. See, yeah, you're the one. Huh? What's your blood group? See, This is the be positive. Everybody should feel I am talking to them when I said most beautiful girl. What is your blood group? You should be positive here. Such a big lecture I have given and you're saying, oh, positive. What's your blood group? Be positive. Yeah, okay, good. Now, please sit down. Sometimes in life, you'll feel that your motivation has disappeared. Sometimes you feel that, your be positive thing also is not working. You're in a very bad mood, you're depressed. On those days, what will carry you through? Your discipline. So I'm very happy that in this college, a lot of emphasis is placed on discipline. In the army also, I'm sure you all would agree with me that in the army, there's a lot of emphasis on discipline. Why? Because in your bad days, it's the discipline which will move you forward, right? So we must rely on discipline on our bad days. Even on our bad days, we must wake up anyway. We must not just give up. We must wake up. We must go to that event which is there. Even on your bad day, you must study. Study anyway. And if you're playing some sports, you must still practice. You see that guy, Virat Kohli? Heard of him? Sometimes you feel that he's crazy, but what is he doing? He's just practicing. Maybe it's on a bad day, but still he will practice. He will not give up. And the last thing I would say is, on these bad days, just show up anyway. One of the best compliment I've seen a child give to his father is to say that, whatever be happening, my father always showed up. That's the biggest compliment a kid could give to her father, that my dad always showed up. The other thing is, there are some of us, I'm reminded of my elder brother. He was very brilliant. Those days there was no IIM, but he was from IIT. That time it was called Chennai, or no, it is called Madras. And my parents thought he was the brilliant guy in the family and I was the mediocre guy. I mean, they were shocked after 20, 30 years. They changed their mind. But my elder brother would not start a thing unless he was perfect in that. Right? So for maths exam, he would study so much and he would get 90 or 100 marks in maths. But he would fail in English and Hindi and all. Right? So you don't have to be an expert to start a thing. You don't have to, be 100% all the resources before you start a thing. If you're positive, don't be foolhardy, but without being an expert, you can learn on the job. Mistakes and errors are acceptable. The more mistakes you make when you're young, the better you're going to be when you mature. My favorite philosopher is a guy called Socrates. And Socrates is 450 BC. He said, he defined experience as making mistakes and learning from the mistake is experience. So he says, just because I'm 77 years old, I'm not more experienced than Dr. Poonam. No, I'm more experienced because I have made more mistakes and I've learned from each of my mistakes. Right? So mistakes and errors, you have to forgive yourself your mistakes. Others will also forgive you for your mistakes. Third thing, when I look at my elder brother and say, confidence comes with action. Confidence comes with action, not with trying to be perfect. The more actions you take to achieve something and results and not before it. Just by thinking about it, You don't get confidence. You'll only get confidence. Now, I'm going to say something a little controversial. Please don't get angry with me. Success, I'm talking with, experience. Success is not reserved for the smartest guy in the room. When I say in a group, in the army, we used to have a platoon. Platoon means about 30 to 35 guys. Right? Now, success, you all feel that the smartest guy should be successful. But quite often it's been my experience that success does not go to the smartest guy in the room. Then whom does the success go to? Success usually earned by the guy who keeps going at it in spite of being rejected. In spite of failures, he's going at it. In spite of embarrassment, he goes at it again and again. Success goes to such guys. And I'm one of those guys. Kept trying. Kept working hard. And success also gets fed up of you, and then success comes your way. Do you remember somebody who tried things 17 times and then succeeded? King Bruce, a Scottish king. Am I right? He kept seeing the spider falling down again and again and again. That is perseverance. Now, we were, like I said, group of 30, 40 good friends, reasonably good friends in the army, and at some stage we all got married. Now, we used to have after marriage also parties. Then I observed that the guy with the most beautiful wife was not the smartest guy in the room. He was not the most handsome. He was not the tallest. He was not the most intelligent. So I used to keep thinking, how come this bugger has got the smartest or the most beautiful wife? So one day I asked his wife. I went to her and asked her, why did you choose? How did this guy win over? What she said shocked me. She said that this guy just won't give up. I used to tell him, no, I'm not interested. But this guy would come again after 15 days again. He would be very nice to me. He would buy me coffee or whatever it is. Right? So, it works in life. Keep trying, keep trying. So, and at some stage, the girl will say yes. Professor Jai Singh, as he met me, the first thing he said, sir, you seem to be traveling quite a lot. Now, this is my wife's and mine, one of weaknesses. We just like to travel. Because in India, I have realized that if you see the TV news in the evening, you start getting convinced that India is a bad country. Whereas if you travel, you realize how good India is and how good the rest of the world is also. So, during my travel, these are my observations, I have realized that the Western countries, there's been a lot of change. I think the equation between men and women have totally changed. 50% or more than the 50% of the workforce is women. You'd find in Switzerland, something like we have a bus here, the tram driver is a lady. Lots of, if you go by train, Zurich to some place, you'll find the ticket examiner is a lady. So, a lot of tough jobs are being done by women. And for some reason, I think the institution of marriage doesn't seem to be working very well. A lot of women don't want to have, because it's my nature to keep asking. So once I was talking to a driver who was driving us around. He was a French guy. He said that, no, these days women rather have a cat with them than to marry. With the result that even if the women get married, a lot of them are not having children. So there's a shortage of young people. I think in Germany they had to close down a lot of schools because there are not enough children. So maybe 10 years from now, there'll be shortage of young people in the workforce. Even today, Mr. Modi was in Netherlands, you saw the number of Indians? I read it was, I think, 50,000 or 80,000 somewhere. My eyesight is not very good. That many Indians are there in Netherlands. He went to Dubai. Dubai, of course, I think there are more Indians than Dubai guys. So, why is it happening? Because the job openings are there. And they don't have enough people who are qualified to hold those jobs. Just 2 days back, I was talking to my sister who stays, I have a place called Hull, Hull in Yorkshire, just England, Scotland border. And she was getting worried. Of course, she's a UK citizen, but she was getting worried that a whole lot of these things, anti-immigrant things are taking place. And she said that in her street of 15-20 houses, there were 4 white girls. None of them joined college. They all have picked up job like beauty parlor or something like that. And the other children from other countries, they all have gone to college. And she said that one of the people staying there is a Nigerian lady. And she's got an outstanding, very high-paying job with the NHS. NHS is there's something like a medical kind of a thing. And now people are saying, why didn't you give that NHS job to us? Why give it to a Nigerian lady? The answer is, you guys are not qualified. You see the point? So, people who are there, for some reason, they're not getting qualified. So, we need to qualify ourselves here. We need, in this college, I'm suggesting to you in the next 2 years, apart from what the college teaches you, the syllabus, you must develop some additional skills. The college is going to equip you with a lot of knowledge, with a lot of skills, but find out what are the skills they're going to give you. But you must, apart from that, at least 1, if not 2 skills you have to learn yourself. This is the age of learning. If you tell a guy like me to, learn something, I cannot learn. But your guys are in the ascendancy. You can easily pick up things. So, spend time discussing with your professors as to what are the skills which will, So, there are a lot of opportunities. And what is going in our way is, we all speak English. Majority of the immigrants in all these places, they can't speak English. I think the whole world thinks that an Indian boy or girl is naturally gifted with computers. So that is a skill which you must, right? Have you ever heard of an Indian guy robbing a bank in America? No. You'll hear of Mexican robbing banks. You'll hear of white men robbing banks. You'll hear of Russian robbing bank, but never an Indian. So in America, everybody says that the Indians are the guys who follow all the rules and regulations. Lately, I think on Diwali and Holy Day, we started dirtying the country, so people are a little angry with us. But otherwise, Indians are not security threats at all. They don't feel. And in America, everybody goes on leave during Christmas. So the only people who are working are Indians. So everything is in our favor, right? And in spite of what Trump is doing, that's an aberration. It will pass away in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Borders will stop having meaning. In the next 10 years, by the time you're really, borders will stop having meanings. If you drive from France to Germany, who fought wars for hundreds of years, the Germans, if you ask them, whom have you killed maximum, they say French guys. But today, when you drive from France to Germany, you don't even know that you've crossed the border. multinational companies would be very important. Chaps like Elon Musk, Adani, all these guys will be more important than the politicians. So the workforce would be able to move from one country to another, Maybe a stage will come where, you take a Schengen visa, go to 20 countries. You may have more visas like this, which will help you to travel freely abroad. And when these opportunities come, you'll be just 6 or 8 hours away from home. So my third advice, my first advice was what? Keep the spark or the burning. Second was be positive, be cheerful, positive. Third is prepare yourself to work overseas. Now, I'm specially speaking to the girls here. There should be no hesitation. If you get a good job, please go. It'll be a good opportunity. It'll be a good experience. Because working abroad, working in different work culture would all be very beneficial. The next point, these are slightly disconnected, is turning point. Before IPL came, there was a commentator called Ravi Shastri. Have you heard of him? Yes. So at the end of the match, Ravi Shastri would ask, if he had to interview a captain or somebody, he will say, what do you think was the turning point of the match? I hope you're understanding the question. Yes. When the team start, both appear to be chances of winning are 50-50. And at some stage, suddenly, they say, jaisa kismat badal gaya kisi ka and kisi ka kismat doob gaya hai. At some stage, what was that turning point? If I ask you what was the turning point in the life of Mahatma Gandhi, when he was thrown off the train, whatever Durban or whatever station was, that was the turning point. He was a lawyer who was following, and after that he started, even in South Africa, the Satyagraha movement. So if there was a turning point in Mahatma Gandhi's life, there would have been turning point in our lives also. But none of the great people that you see, Napoleon, Alexander, in nobody's life did the turning point happen before they were 25 or 30. So maybe the turning point in your lives is going to happen in the next few years. So please don't think, and till the age of 25, 27, none of the great people, I know who are the great people that you consider great. If you see their life at the age of 25, 30, they were just mediocre guys. So turning point is going to happen in our lives. Right? So be prepared for that as well. Now, like I said, you guys, your life is ahead of you. You need to get yourself qualified for tomorrow. In the army, we say that so-and-so general, he was preparing for yesterday's war. Possible? Whereas, as a general, I need to prepare my army for tomorrow's war. There's a difference. So, you have to prepare not for the life that your professors have led, but for the future. So there is a prognosis. You've got to look at future all the time. And somebody who can look at the future today, can you give me his name? You have to prepare yourselves, qualify for tomorrow. Get all the skills. I've been emphasizing on that. Get experienced. Make mistakes, get experienced. Look for opportunities. The most decisive battles in history has not gone to the stronger force, is gone to the more smaller and agile force, because when the opportunity came, they grabbed that opportunity. So you have to be in your life looking for opportunities. In our time, we were told that you get a government job. And if somebody got a government job as a peon, the parents were very happy. Or whatever job you picked up, whether you liked it or not, you remained in the job for the next 100 years. Are you with me? We never changed our profession because we were not bold. You know, my elder brother, so brilliant, he joined quickly a place in Ranchi called Mekon. I don't know, Ranchi, who designed steel plants. But he served there for 100 years. So when opportunities come, you have to grab them. Don't stay in one place. No corporate is going to be loyal to you. So you do not have to be loyal to them as we in the army are loyal to the army and the country. If we join corporate, Professor Jai Singh was listing the top corporate people who are coming here. Yes, you join them. Yes, be loyal to them. I'm not saying be disloyal. But don't be loyal to the extent that you'll be loyal to your country and to yourself. If another opportunity comes, you must grab. 21st century, there are three very important things for us. Information is number one. Education is number two. And motivation is number three. Information, in the army we call it khabar. What information? In the army we'll say khabar dushman ke bare mein, khabar apne bare mein, khabar zameen ke bare mein, khabar mausam ke bare mein. To make our plan, you need all this information. What is my capability? What is the capability of my enemy? Right? So, this is also known as intelligence. You gather intelligence. So, if you're going to work in Dubai, you got to know information. What is happening around you? What is happening in your corporate, in your company? You know, what are the legal things? What are the rules, regulations? Knowing all this, tomorrow you can't say, I did not know this rule. So, knowing your environment is information. Second is education, which is qualification, which you're going to do. Experience, team spirit. Team spirit somehow is not getting the kind of importance which possibly the army gives it. Because no corporate, no company can achieve success unless it is a team effort. But some people at the top believe that no, it was, they have achieved it. Normally, who will be the guys? The HR guys will try to take the credit for all your work. So, you have to work as a team. Team is not only horizontal but vertical also. You've got to take people with you. So, there's a book written by a guy called Shiv Khera. Have you heard of Shiv Khera? He writes a lot about management. You can win or you can do this. So, this guy in one of the interviews was claiming that he has interviewed a whole lot of top industrialists in the country. And he says that he asked them a question, what do you expect from a young guy who joins your company? And they listed out 5 things, 4 things. There was one thing which was common in all those top industrialists' answer, and that was right attitude. Nobody said, I want guys from IIT. Nobody said, I want guys from IIM. Nobody said, I want the most brilliant chap. Nobody said, I want the most beautiful girl. Nobody said, I want the most handsome guy to join. No. They all said, right attitude. Now, what is right attitude? One of the most important things as per me is be positive. Right? So, Mr. Tata clarifies that it is not the machines, it is not the computers, it is not the resources, but it is my workforce. The right attitude makes all the difference. Who said this in the Hindi movie? I think again Rancho, to some extent, maybe we need to look at this movie again, Three Idiots and Jab We Met, because there are a lot of lessons we can learn. Another quick point I have is multitasking. It's no point being that I'm a technical guy, I'm expert in this part of it. No. When you're working in the corporate, people need all-rounders. And who's the biggest all-rounder that you've seen in your life? Aren't our mothers the best all-rounders and multitasker? I remember my mother was making dinner, and then she would come to the dining table where we were doing homework. She will supervise that. Then she'll go back, scold my father. So she would at least do 4 or 5 things together. So I think multitasking comes naturally to the ladies, right? It is men. Have you seen, if my wife tells me, I say, first let me finish this, then I will look at that. Most men are like this. They'll say, first let me finish, I will take one work at a time. So men, I'm speaking to you guys, you need to learn to multitask. So now, shall we go back to that spark? Firstly, we need to nurture the spark or keep the flame burning. And what do we need to protect the flame from? Imagine a candle. We need to protect it from, wind or whatever is sort of any kind of somebody is trying to blow it, right? So nurturing is done. So how do we nurture the flame that we got? By setting goals for ourselves. We've got to set small goals. Your professors will give you bigger targets, but every day you set some, or every week set some small goal for yourself. If you're walking 5 kilometers, you say, by next month I must increase it to 5.5 kilometers. Not very difficult, but it's a small. So this is how. So if you're not very good in some subject, statistics, you say that, okay, I'm going to spend more time on statistics and do better in the next exam, in this semester, in this thing. So you got to set small goals and achieve them, right? From one level, you go to the next, one step at a time. Then the second thing is, these goals add balance to our lives. When you set goals and achieve them. Now, I asked that question a little earlier. What are we worried from? We are worried about storms. If a storm comes, the flame will go away. Now, there are 4 storms in our lives, so to speak. The first is disappointment. If there is disappointment in our life, our flame will go down. Remember Kareena Kapoor? There was some disappointment. So her flame dimmed or stopped burning or dimmed. Second is frustration. If there is frustration, again, it's like a storm and it's trying to put out the flame. What is the difference between frustration and disappointment? Disappointment is you wanted something, but that objective, but you haven't got it. Frustration is there is some obstacle which is coming on the way, right? So frustration is you failed because of that obstacle and you need to surmount that obstacle. That's the difference between disappointment. Third is unfairness. As as children, we all thought that life is very fair. As we grow up, we learn that life is not fair. Life is unfair. Right? Amit Shah's son will get I also applied for BCCI secretary, but I didn't get that job. So, life is unfair. See the point? So, this also will try to demoralize you to this extent that the flame might go away. And last is loneliness. At times we become very lonely, we get isolated. So these are the 4 things which may happen in life to put the flame or the spark out, and we must be careful about them. Before ending, I'll just quickly say something about learning, because we are all here to learn. We all know what is learning, but I would like to say that as part of management, one of the things you need to learn is communication. If you learn communication, you gain in confidence. Right? Akansha is very confidently able to get up and say what she wants. That is confidence, because her communication skills are good. When I was of your age, I would keep hiding so that the guy on the rostrum didn't ask me that question. Right? Second is discipline. When you learn discipline, you gain consistency. So sometimes we feel that discipline is for average and mediocre people, not for brilliant people. But no, even brilliant people, if they are disciplined, everybody can't be an Einstein whose discipline was very bad. But if your discipline is good, you will be consistent. Third is, when you learn technology, when you learn creativity, and you learn leadership, you expand your future potential. So these are the things which we need to learn. I would also like to sum up these by saying that we should never cease to be students. We should never consider ourselves experts. Students, we should keep learning. Always, because if we keep learning, we will always stay ahead of the flock. Learning also teaches us to be patient. You'll see that Dr. Manmohan Singh was more patient than some of the other prime ministers, because he was very learned. For this, we got to read more. Professor Jai Singh was very proudly, talking about the library that you have here, one of the best libraries, and computer library also. So you must read more. If you listen to Dr. Shashi Tharoor, he says that normally most of us in India, we have a vocabulary of just 80 words, and we keep repeating those words. The more you read, the depth, your English, and same thing in different words have been said by a chap called Javed Akhtar. He says, to be a poet, you don't have to study poetry, you have to read more and more and more. For the same word, there will be 10 different words in Hindi or Urdu. You need to ask more questions. You need to stay curious when you are learning. Whom do you learn from? In the army, when we are youngsters, at the age of 19, I became an officer. Right? If I feel that, no, I know everything, I'll be fooling myself. So I used to learn from my subordinates, the soldiers. He may have been a soldier, Lance Naik, but he has, stayed in the army for 15 years. So surely I can learn something from him. So you can learn from your subordinates. You can learn from your colleagues. You can learn from your teachers. I've always found it good to have role models. You don't have to, people say, who's your role model? No, my question is, who are your role models? And in every beauty pageant, whether Aishwarya Rai or Sushmita Sen, they all say, my mother is my role model. No. I mean, you've got to have some professors, some friends. You can have 10 role models. Role models are those from whom you can copy them. You can learn from them. Then you can also learn from books immensely. You can also learn from yourselves, the mistakes that you make. So keep learning. The learning process must never stop, and become a better version of yourself. Right? So if she is Akansha 1.0 now, maybe 5 years from now, she should be Akansha 2.0. 10 years from now, she should be Akansha 3.0. Right? So she is a better version of herself as she's going along if you keep learning. Now, your 2-year stay, am I right, is 2 years there here? In the Indus Business School is the best time to experiment. I think once, you start working, it may be difficult to experiment. So whatever experiments you want to do, please do it now. My first request to you is learn at least one skill beyond the syllabus. Speak up. A little while ago, I said communication. Speak up, even if your voice is shaking. Doesn't matter. You as students must learn to speak privately in small groups, close to your friends, one-to-one with the professor or the teacher, and in public. Because the jobs that you guys, and when I say guys, I mean the girls also, are going to hold are managerial and leadership kind of thing. And communication, I'm sure, will be taught to you in great detail, but communication skills. You don't have to be as good in English as Mr. Shashi Tharoor. Or is he Dr. Shashi Tharoor? I don't know. But simple, plain English, if you can express yourself, the other person can understand, that is very good. As I said, during these 2 years, please try your hand at leadership. Maybe there would be discussions, difference between management and leadership. There is a difference. So, apart from management, try your hand at leadership also. Build friendships. This is part of your 2 years. Make friends. It's very strange. Believe me that 50 years from now, some of the friends you make in the college will be friends 50 years from now. I don't know. School friends, no. College friends are the ones who will stay together. My daughter is still in New York City. She organizes symbiosis get together there. 10 or 12 people. So, I'm sure that you also must be having these alumni, and it should be such that, of course, here it will be in big scale, but wherever you are, if there are 20 people in, let's say in Delhi, you could have a small get together there and send the pictures to the college. You can start small projects. Everything, any task which you are given can be converted into a project, and approach it how to solve a project. In the army engineers, project work, the time planning, the scheduling, the costing, everything was a very major kind of a teaching. In the very young officers, when we were just second lieutenants, there was a lot of emphasis paid on running projects. And the last thing I have to say is, during these 2 years, learn resilience. Resilience is a very good name. It is meaning adjusting yourself to the environment. Not being a square peg in a round hole. No. You don't have to, you should be resilient enough to, bear the physical inconvenience, or even if you are not in agreement with your boss, you should be able to survive that experience and move forward. So in other words, I am advising you to prepare for the real world. The real world outside rewards communication. Real world outside rewards discipline. Real world outside rewards consistency. And consistency comes if there is discipline. Real world rewards courage. May not be physical, but at least mental courage. Rewards ability to learn continuously. Continuously, like I said, Akansha 2.0, you got to Keep improving yourself. And finally, the real world really rewards results. I think it's time for me to conclude. Just if I have to summarize what I said the future belongs to us. It does not belong to the other Western countries. There's going to be as much job opportunities abroad as there are in India. So if you prepare for that, you can always pick up a job in India. Right? If somebody belongs to Madhya Pradesh, and if I'm talking to girls, if you're willing to come to Bangalore and work, you might as well go to, Paris and work. Right? That's the thing I'm trying to tell you, that the future belongs to us. There's going to be more opportunities outside. Now you got to work out, discuss with your professors, some of the people, experts who come, ask them questions, people who have worked abroad and come back here. You get very good people from the industry who have worked abroad. The second thing I have for you is keep that spark and flame alive. Agreed? So I'm going to ask you one more question. How is the Josh? Hi, sir. How is the Josh? Hi, sir. How is the Josh? Yes, very good. Be cheerful, be positive. Even at workplace. Right? No, I've not finished. No, I said, so the clapping was for a hint to quickly finish. I'll do that. So be cheerful even at the workplace. Be positive at the workplace. So my wife complains that you're so cheerful when you're in the office. When you come home also, please be positive. Then remember what Shiv Khera said, right attitude. Keep learning, upgrading, one small step at a time. And I'll finish on the last point is be prepared to work overseas. Don't, especially to the ladies, young ladies here, don't put a stopper, okay, I'm not going abroad. No. Keep that option open. You never know, that might be possibly the best option. And finally, the future belongs to you. God bless you. And I will be very, very happy to learn that all of you are progressing well in life. And thank you very much. Jai Hind.